Sharks are not only apex predators but also possess unique hunting skills and sensory abilities. They can detect a drop of blood in the water from miles away, and their electroreception allows them to sense the faintest movements. Some species, like the tiger shark, are known for their aggressive nature and willingness to eat almost anything. These 6 encounters reveal the terrifying power and unexpected behavior of these formidable sea creatures and other sea creatures. In the summer of 2001, Mike Anderson, a seasoned surfer weighing 300 pounds, headed out to catch waves off the coast of Southern California. The beach at Santa Monica was one of his favorite spots, known for its big swells and vibrant surf culture. Mike, 35, had spent years surfing these waters and was well known among the local surfers for his agility and skill despite his size. On the morning of July 15, 2001, Mike arrived at the beach with his custom surfboard, ready to take on the waves. The sky was clear, and the sun was just beginning to rise, casting a golden glow over the water. The ocean was calm, with the promise of good waves to come. Mike felt a rush of excitement as he prepared for his morning surf session. Santa Monica was not just a popular beach, it was also part of a diverse marine ecosystem. The waters here were home to various marine animals, including seals, dolphins, and the occasional shark. Great white sharks, in particular, were known to inhabit these waters, drawn by the rich food sources. These apex predators, reaching up to 20 feet in length, were a constant reminder of the ocean's unpredictability. Mike paddled out, his strong arms cutting through the water with practiced ease. He joined a group of surfers who were already waiting for the perfect wave. Among them were his friends, Tony and Sam, who greeted him with nods and smiles. The camaraderie of the surf community was one of the things Mike loved most about the sport. As the morning progressed, the waves began to build. Mike caught several good rides, his body moving in sync with his board and the water. Each wave was a thrill, a dance between man and nature. The energy of the ocean was intoxicating, and Mike felt alive, his worries left on the shore. Around mid-morning, Mike paddled out further, searching for a bigger wave. The water was deeper here, and he relished the challenge. He floated on his board, waiting for the next swell. The sea was serene, and the gentle rise and fall of the waves were soothing. Mike took a moment to appreciate the beauty around him. Unbeknownst to Mike, a massive, great white shark was lurking beneath the surface. Drawn by the vibrations and movements of the surfers, the predator circled slowly, its keen senses attuned to the activity above. The great white shark, a formidable hunter, was a master of stealth and power. Mike felt a sudden eerie stillness in the water. He glanced around, sensing something was off but unable to pinpoint the cause. The other surfers seemed unaware. Their attention was focused on the waves. Mike took a deep breath, trying to shake off the feeling of unease. Then, without warning, the shark struck. With incredible speed and force, it lunged at Mike's board, knocking him off and into the water. The impact was so sudden and violent that Mike didn't have time to react. One moment he was waiting for a wave. The next he was plunged into the ocean, disoriented and terrified. As Mike hit the water, he felt the cold embrace of the ocean envelop him. The world above seemed distant, muffled by the rush of water in his ears. He struggled to orient himself, his mind racing with the realization of what had happened. The great white shark, now visible, circled him with menacing precision. The beach, once a scene of calm and joy, turned into chaos. Lifeguards and fellow surfers saw the attack and sprang into action. Tony and Sam, closest to Mike, paddled towards him as fast as they could, shouting warnings to the others. The urgency of the situation was clear to everyone on the beach. Underwater, Mike's survival instincts kicked in. He tried to remain as still as possible, knowing that sudden movements could provoke the shark further. He could see the massive predator circling, its eyes cold and calculating. The shark's presence was overwhelming, a stark reminder of his vulnerability in its domain. The shark made another pass, this time grazing Mike's leg with its rough skin. The pain was sharp, and Mike bit down a scream. He kicked out instinctively, trying to push the shark away. The predator, momentarily startled, backed off but didn't leave. Mike knew he had to get back to his board and out of the water as quickly as possible. With every ounce of strength he had, Mike swam towards his board, now floating a few feet away. The shark, sensing his movement, followed closely. Mike reached his board and hauled himself onto it, his heart pounding in his chest. He was bleeding, and he knew that the scent of blood would only make the shark more aggressive. Tony and Sam reached him just in time. They formed a protective barrier around Mike, using their boards to fend off the shark. The lifeguards were on their way, their rescue boat cutting through the water at full speed. The beachgoers watched in horror, their hearts in their throats. The shark made another lunge, and Tony jabbed at it with his board, trying to drive it away. The predator thrashed in response, the water churning with its movements. Mike, now lying flat on his board, felt a surge of adrenaline. He knew he had to stay calm and focused if he wanted to survive. The lifeguards arrived, their boat creating a wall of safety between the surfers and the shark. They pulled Mike onto the boat, his body shaking from the ordeal. The shark, sensing the fight was over, finally swam away, disappearing into the depths from which it had come. On the boat, the lifeguards administered first aid to Mike, wrapping his leg to stem the bleeding. His friends hovered nearby, their faces etched with concern. The beach was still in shock, the crowd murmuring in relief as the boat headed back to shore. As the boat reached the dock, Mike felt a mix of exhaustion and gratitude. The attack had been a harrowing reminder of the ocean's unpredictable nature. He had faced one of its most feared predators and survived, thanks to his strength, quick thinking, and the bravery of his friends. In the summer of 2003, Karen Johnson, a dedicated marine ecologist, embarked on a research dive off the coast of Belize. The crystal-clear waters of the Belize Barrier Reef, the second-largest coral reef system in the world, provided a stunning backdrop for her studies. Karen, 32, was on a mission to understand the health and biodiversity of these vibrant coral reefs. On the morning of July 22, 2003, Karen prepared for her dive with meticulous care. She checked her diving equipment, reviewed her research notes, and made sure her underwater camera was ready. The boat she was using, the Reef Explorer, was anchored near a particularly rich section of the reef known for its diverse marine life. The waters around Belize were home to a wide variety of sea creatures, including the giant grouper. These massive fish, which could grow up to 800 pounds, were generally known for their calm demeanor. However, their size and strength made them formidable creatures, capable of powerful bursts of speed when threatened. Karen's goal for the day was to document the health of the coral and the various species that inhabit it. She had always been fascinated by the intricate relationships within marine ecosystems, and Belize's reefs offered a wealth of information. The sun was bright and the sea was calm, creating perfect conditions for her dive. As Karen descended into the water, she felt a familiar sense of peace and excitement. The underwater world was a vibrant explosion of colors and life. Schools of fish swam in synchrony, while the coral structures provided a stunning backdrop. Karen moved slowly, her eyes scanning the reef for signs of coral bleaching and other indicators of environmental stress. She was particularly interested in the interactions between different species. Her research aimed to understand how the health of the coral affected the broader ecosystem. Karen took photographs and notes, and her movements were deliberate and focused. She felt completely at home in this underwater paradise. As she swam deeper, Karen's attention was drawn to a large shadow moving near a coral outcrop. It was a giant grouper, its massive body gliding through the water with an effortless grace. Karen's heart raced with excitement. She had always wanted to observe one of these incredible fish up close. She approached slowly, maintaining a respectful distance. The grouper seemed to be minding its own business, uninterested in her presence. Karen marveled at its size and power, feeling a deep sense of respect for the creature. She took several photos, being careful not to disturb them. However, as she continued her observations, Karen noticed a change in the grouper's behavior. It turned towards her, its large eyes locking onto hers. She felt a chill run down her spine. The grouper's demeanor shifted from indifferent to alert, its body language indicating a heightened sense of awareness. Karen knew that she had to be cautious. The last thing she wanted was to provoke the giant fish. She began to back away slowly, hoping to give the grouper enough space to feel comfortable again. But the grouper had already decided that her presence was a threat. Without warning, the giant grouper charged at Karen. Its massive mouth opened wide, displaying rows of sharp teeth. The serene underwater research turned into a frantic struggle for survival. Karen's training and instincts kicked in as she tried to evade the powerful fish. She twisted her body, using her fins to propel herself sideways, narrowly avoiding the grouper's initial lunge. The fish's speed and agility were shocking. It turned quickly, ready for another attack. Karen knew she had to use the reef to her advantage. She darted towards a dense cluster of coral, hoping to find cover. The grouper followed, its large body crashing through the water with relentless determination. Karen squeezed into a narrow crevice between two coral formations, her heart pounding. The grouper circled outside, unable to reach her but unwilling to leave. Karen took the opportunity to catch her breath and plan her next move. She knew she couldn't stay hidden forever. The grouper was persistent, and the confined space offered limited protection. Karen scanned the area, looking for a clear path back to the surface. She spotted an opening in the reef and decided to make a run for it. With a burst of energy, Karen shot out of the aperture and swam towards the opening. The grouper, sensing her movement, gave chase. Karen felt the rush of water as the giant fish closed in. She kicked harder, her muscles straining with the effort. The grouper's shadow loomed over her. Its presence was a constant threat. Just as the grouper lunged again, Karen reached a tall coral pillar. She swam around it, using the structure to block the fish's path. The grouper collided with the coral, momentarily stunned. Karen took advantage of the brief respite to put some distance between them. She could see the surface now, the sunlight shimmering above. The grouper recovered quickly, but Karen was already halfway to the surface. She felt a surge of hope and determination. The boat was her lifeline, and she was getting closer. The grouper made one final desperate attempt to catch her, but Karen was too fast. She broke the surface, gasping for air. The crew on the Reef Explorer had been watching the unfolding drama with growing concern. They quickly moved to help Karen, pulling her out of the water and onto the boat. Her body shook with exhaustion and adrenaline. The giant grouper, thwarted in its pursuit, disappeared back into the depths. Karen lay on the deck, catching her breath and processing the harrowing encounter. The tranquil beauty of the reef had given way to a fierce struggle for survival. The experience was a stark reminder of the ocean's unpredictable nature and the challenges faced by marine scientists. The crew gathered around her, their relief evident. Karen felt a mix of emotions: gratitude for her safety, awe at the power of the giant grouper, and a renewed respect for the creatures of the deep. She knew that her research would continue, but with a heightened awareness of the potential dangers. In the summer of 2005, David Robinson, an adventurous snorkeler, set out to explore the crystal-clear waters of the Mediterranean Sea. The picturesque coast of Mallorca, Spain, was his chosen destination. The island, known for its stunning beaches and vibrant marine life, offered the perfect setting for an unforgettable snorkeling experience. On the morning of August 14, 2005, David arrived at a secluded cove, his excitement palpable. The sky was a brilliant blue and the water sparkled in the sunlight. The conditions were ideal for snorkeling, with calm seas and excellent visibility. David, 28, had spent years exploring various underwater landscapes, but the allure of the Mediterranean was unmatched. Equipped with his snorkel, fins, and underwater camera, David waded into the warm, inviting water. He had planned this trip meticulously, ensuring he had the best gear and a thorough understanding of the local marine life. The Mediterranean Sea was home to a diverse array of creatures, from vibrant schools of fish to elusive octopuses. Among these inhabitants was the blue shark, a sleek and agile predator known for its curiosity and speed. David's goal for the day was to capture the beauty of the underwater world through his camera lens. He floated effortlessly on the surface, his eyes scanning the colorful reef below. The water was teeming with life. Schools of fish moved in perfect harmony, creating a mesmerizing dance of colors. David felt a deep sense of peace as he observed the vibrant ecosystem. As he swam further from the shore, he noticed a large school of sardines shimmering in the sunlight. The fish moved as one, a living, breathing entity that was both captivating and calming. David followed the school, entranced by their movements. He clicked away with his camera, eager to document the stunning display. Unbeknownst to David, a blue shark had been drawn to the area by the abundance of fish. Blue sharks, with their slender bodies and pointed snouts, were common in these waters. They were known for their inquisitive nature, often approaching divers and snorkelers out of curiosity. While generally not aggressive towards humans, their presence could be unsettling, especially when they exhibited signs of agitation. David was completely absorbed in his surroundings, unaware of the shark's approach. He swam leisurely, taking in the sights and sounds of the underwater world. The serenity of the moment was suddenly interrupted by a shadow moving in the corner of his vision. He turned to see the sleek form of a blue shark gliding through the water, its movements graceful yet deliberate. A chill ran down David's spine as he locked eyes with the predator. The shark's sleek body and swift movements were a stark contrast to the peaceful scene around him. David's heart began to race, but he knew he had to remain calm. Panic would only exacerbate the situation. The shark circled David, its curiosity evident. He could see the muscles ripple beneath its blue-gray skin, a testament to the power and agility of the creature. David's mind raced as he recalled everything he knew about shark behavior. He needed to show the shark that he was not a threat, and he had to do it without making any sudden movements. David maintained a steady, controlled breathing pattern, his heart pounding in his chest. The blue shark continued to circle, each pass bringing it closer. David knew that he had to make his way back to the boat, but he also understood that any abrupt movement could provoke the shark further. With deliberate slowness, David began to back away, keeping his eyes on the shark. The predator's curiosity seemed to grow, its movements becoming more calculated. David could feel the water shift with each of the shark's powerful strokes. The distance to the boat seemed vast, and he knew he had to navigate this journey with utmost care. As David inched backward, the shark suddenly darted forward, closing the gap between them. Its pointed snout was inches from his face, its eyes reflecting a predatory intensity. David's instincts screamed at him to flee, but he resisted the urge. He knew that staying calm was his best chance for survival. The shark's movements grew more aggressive, its body language indicating a mix of curiosity and territorial behavior. David realized that the glint of his underwater camera might be attracting the shark. He slowly adjusted the camera, hoping to minimize the reflections that caught the shark's attention. The blue shark circled again, this time brushing against David's fins. The contact sent a jolt of fear through him, but he kept his movements steady. He began to angle towards the boat, his progress slow but deliberate. The shark followed closely, its presence a constant reminder of the danger. David's thoughts raced as he tried to remember everything he had learned about handling shark encounters. He recalled that sharks often lose interest if they perceive no threat or potential prey. He hoped that by maintaining his calm demeanor and moving steadily, the shark would eventually move on. The boat was now in sight, but the shark showed no sign of retreating. David's muscles ached from the tension, but he forced himself to keep moving. He was within shouting distance of the boat, but any loud noise could agitate the shark. Instead, he focused on his slow, controlled movements. As David reached the ladder of the boat, the blue shark made one final aggressive pass. It brushed against his leg, its rough skin leaving a mark. David bit back a cry of fear and pain, his focus unwavering. He grasped the ladder and began to climb, his body shaking with adrenaline. The crew on the boat, having witnessed the encounter, rushed to help him aboard. They pulled him out of the water, his body trembling from the ordeal. The shark, sensing the end of its interest, finally swam away, disappearing into the depths of the Mediterranean. David lay on the deck, gasping for breath. The terror of the encounter began to fade, replaced by a profound sense of relief and gratitude. He had faced one of the ocean's most agile predators and survived, thanks to his knowledge and steady nerves. In the summer of 2007, Tim Nelson, a seasoned sailor, navigated the tropical waters of the Great Barrier Reef off the coast of Australia. The reef, one of the world's most spectacular natural wonders, stretched over 2,300 kilometers and was renowned for its rich biodiversity. Tim, 42, had sailed these waters many times, always drawn by their beauty and the thrill of exploration. On the morning of August 5, 2007, Tim set sail from Cairns, a vibrant city in Queensland. The weather was perfect, with clear skies and a gentle breeze guiding his sailboat, the Coral Wanderer. The sea was calm, and the sun sparkled on the water's surface. Tim felt a deep sense of peace and freedom as he steered the boat toward his favorite spot near Lizard Island. The Great Barrier Reef was teeming with life. Schools of colorful fish darted among the coral, and sea turtles glided gracefully through the water. It was a paradise for marine enthusiasts like Tim. He planned to spend the day sailing and snorkeling, taking in the underwater beauty that never ceased to amaze him. By midday, Tim anchored his boat in a secluded bay near Lizard Island. The island, a popular destination for tourists and researchers alike, was known for its pristine beaches and vibrant coral reefs. Tim had visited this spot many times, finding solace in its serene beauty. He decided to take a break from sailing and enjoy a swim in the inviting waters. Unbeknownst to Tim, the waters of the Great Barrier Reef were also home to one of the ocean's most dangerous creatures, the box jellyfish. These translucent jellyfish, nearly invisible in the water, were notorious for their potent venom. Their tentacles could deliver a sting so painful and toxic that it could cause cardiac arrest within minutes. Despite their deadly nature, box jellyfish were rarely seen, and their presence often went unnoticed until it was too late. Tim donned his snorkeling gear and slipped into the water, eager to explore the reef. The cool water was refreshing against his sun-warmed skin. He swam leisurely, marveling at the vibrant coral formations and the myriad of marine life that called the reef home. It was a perfect day, filled with the wonders of the underwater world. As he floated near the surface, Tim spotted a school of bright blue tangs swimming past. He followed them, captivated by their graceful movements. The reef below was a kaleidoscope of colors, and Tim felt a profound connection to the ocean and its inhabitants. He took deep breaths through his snorkel, savoring the tranquility of the moment. But the serenity of the day was shattered in an instant. Tim suddenly felt a searing pain across his arm and torso. It was unlike anything he had ever experienced. The pain was excruciating, radiating from the points of contact and spreading rapidly through his body. He looked down and saw the translucent tentacles of a box jellyfish wrapped around his arm. Tim's mind raced as the pain intensified. He knew he had to act quickly. The venom of the box jellyfish could cause paralysis and even death within minutes. He had to reach his boat and administer first aid immediately. His serene swim had turned into a desperate race against time. The pain was overwhelming, but Tim forced himself to stay focused. He kicked hard, using his good arm to propel himself towards the coral wanderer. Each movement sent waves of agony through his body, but he couldn't afford to stop. The boat seemed impossibly far, and he felt the venom spreading, causing his muscles to seize up. Tim reached the ladder of his boat, his vision blurring from the pain. He struggled to pull himself up, every inch a battle against his weakening body. He managed to haul himself onto the deck, collapsing in a heap. His breathing was shallow and his heart raced. He had to get the tentacles off and neutralize the venom. With trembling hands, Tim reached for the first aid kit he kept on board. He grabbed a bottle of vinegar, knowing that it could help neutralize the stinging cells of the jellyfish. He poured it over the affected areas, the liquid providing some relief, but doing little to ease the excruciating pain. He needed to remove the tentacles carefully to avoid further venom release. His hands shook as he used tweezers to remove the tentacles. Each contact with the tentacles sent another jolt of pain through his body. Tim gritted his teeth, determined to get through this. He knew that every second counted. He managed to remove the last of the tentacles, but the pain and venom had already taken their toll. Tim's vision continued to blur, and his limbs felt heavy. He knew he had to get help. He reached for the radio, his fingers numb and uncooperative. He managed to send out a distress call, his voice weak but urgent. The pain was relentless, and he felt his strength fading. Minutes felt like hours as Tim waited for help. He focused on his breathing, trying to stay conscious. The venom was powerful, causing waves of pain and paralysis. He knew that help was on the way, but he had to hold on. The ocean, once a place of beauty and peace, had become a battleground for his survival. The sound of an approaching boat broke through the haze of pain. Tim saw a rescue vessel pulling alongside the coral wanderer. The crew quickly boarded his boat, their faces filled with concern. They worked swiftly, administering pain relief and preparing him for transport to the hospital. Tim felt a sense of relief as they lifted him onto the rescue boat. The pain was still intense, but he knew he was in good hands. The crew's reassurances helped calm his racing heart. They radioed ahead to the hospital, ensuring that a medical team would be ready to treat him upon arrival. The ride to the shore was a blur of pain and relief. Tim's mind drifted in and out of consciousness, the venom's effect still coursing through his body. The crew kept a close eye on him, monitoring his vital signs and providing support. They knew that the next few minutes were critical. As they reached the shore, Tim was rushed to the waiting ambulance. The medical team worked quickly, administering anti-venom and stabilizing his condition. The pain began to subside, replaced by a profound sense of exhaustion. Tim knew he was lucky to be alive. In the summer of 2009, Lucy Evans, an experienced kayaker, embarked on a serene journey through the fjords of Norway. The breathtaking landscapes of the Sognefjord, one of the longest and deepest fjords in the world, provided a perfect backdrop for her adventure. Lucy, 34, had explored many waters, but the beauty of Norway's fjords was unmatched. On the morning of July 18, 2009, Lucy launched her kayak from a small village on the edge of the fjord. The weather was ideal, with clear skies and a gentle breeze. The water was calm, reflecting the towering cliffs and lush greenery that surrounded her. As she paddled, Lucy felt a profound sense of peace, the rhythmic motion of her strokes blending seamlessly with the tranquil environment. The fjords of Norway were known for their rich marine life. Schools of fish darted beneath the surface, and seals occasionally popped up to observe the passing kayakers. However, the deeper waters of the fjord also harbored more elusive creatures, including the giant squid. These mysterious cephalopods, rarely seen by humans, could grow to impressive sizes and possess long, powerful tentacles. Lucy paddled steadily, taking in the majestic scenery. She planned to spend the day exploring different inlets and coves, documenting the journey with her camera. Her love for nature and adventure had brought her to many remote places, but the fjords of Norway held a special place in her heart. As the morning turned into the afternoon, Lucy decided to take a break. She found a quiet spot near a rocky outcrop and let her kayak drift. She enjoyed a light lunch, savoring the stillness of the fjord. The only sounds were the gentle lapping of the water against her kayak and the distant calls of seabirds. After her break, Lucy resumed paddling, eager to explore more of the fjord. She felt invigorated, her mind clear and focused. She navigated through narrow channels and past cliffs, marveling at the untouched beauty of the landscape. The day was perfect, a seamless blend of adventure and tranquility. Suddenly, without warning, Lucy's kayak jolted violently. She gasped, her heart pounding as she looked around to find the cause. The water beneath her seemed to swirl and darken, and she felt a powerful force pulling her kayak downward. Panic set in as she realized something large and strong was beneath her. Before she could react, a long, sinewy tentacle emerged from the water and wrapped around her kayak. The tentacle was covered in powerful suction cups, each one gripping tightly to the hull. Lucy's tranquil journey had turned into a nightmare. She was face to face with a giant squid, an elusive predator of the deep. Lucy's mind raced as the giant squid's tentacles tightened around her kayak. The creature's immense strength was evident as it began to pull her toward the depths. The calm surface of the fjord belied the fierce struggle taking place below. Lucy knew she had to act quickly if she wanted to survive. Using all her strength, Lucy grabbed her paddle and struck at the tentacles. The squid reacted by tightening its grip, pulling her closer to the water. She could see the dark, beady eyes of the creature just below the surface, a reminder of the formidable opponent she faced. The kayak rocked violently, and Lucy fought to keep her balance. The giant squid's tentacles were relentless, but Lucy's determination was unwavering. She continued to strike at the tentacles, each blow fueled by desperation. The suction cups clung tenaciously to the kayak, but her repeated attacks began to weaken their hold. The water churned around her and the kayak tilted dangerously close to capsizing. Lucy felt a surge of adrenaline. She had to free herself before the squid pulled her under completely. She swung her paddle with renewed vigor, targeting the base of the tentacles. The creature recoiled slightly, loosening its grip just enough for her to maneuver the kayak away. She paddled fiercely, trying to create distance between herself and the relentless predator. The squid, undeterred, lashed out again. A tentacle wrapped around Lucy's arm, its suction cups gripping her skin painfully. She cried out in pain but didn't lose her focus. With her free hand, she grabbed a knife she kept for emergencies and slashed at the tentacle. The squid released her arm, and the water tinged with a dark ink as it retreated momentarily. Lucy knew she couldn't afford to lose momentum. She paddled with all her might, her muscles burning with effort. The shore seemed impossibly far, but she focused on each stroke, inching closer to safety. The giant squid made one last attempt to reclaim its prey, but Lucy's determination proved stronger. She felt the tension in the water ease as the squid finally abandoned its pursuit. Exhausted and shaken, Lucy continued paddling until she reached the rocky outcrop where she had taken her lunch break. She dragged herself and her kayak onto the shore, collapsing onto the rocks, her body trembling from the ordeal. Lucy's quick thinking and physical strength had saved her life. She knew she had been lucky to survive the encounter with such a powerful predator. The experience had tested her limits, but it had also reinforced her respect for the natural world. In the summer of 2011, Joe Fisher, a seasoned commercial fisherman, was working off the coast of Western Australia. The Indian Ocean, known for its rich marine biodiversity, was his workplace. Joe, 45, had spent decades fishing these waters, navigating the challenges and rewards that came with his profession. On the morning of September 15, 2011, Joe set out from the bustling port of Fremantle, eager for a productive day at sea. The sky was clear and the waters were calm, promising good conditions for fishing. Joe's boat, the Sea Voyager, was well equipped for the day's work, with sturdy nets and powerful winches ready for the haul. As the sun rose higher, Joe and his crew, consisting of his longtime friends Tom and Greg, prepared their equipment. The waters off Western Australia were teeming with life, including the occasional predator like the tiger shark. These sharks, recognizable by their distinctive stripes, were known for their size and strength. They could grow up to 16 feet long and were formidable hunters, feeding on a wide variety of marine animals. The morning was productive. Joe and his crew hauled in a variety of fish, their nets heavy with the ocean's bounty. The men worked efficiently and their movements were practiced and coordinated. The deck of the Sea Voyager was a hive of activity, with fish being sorted and stored. Joe felt a deep satisfaction as the hold filled with the day's catch. As the afternoon wore on, Joe cast his line for one final haul. The crew was tired but in good spirits, pleased with the day's success. Joe's line suddenly went taut, the rod bending under an immense weight. His pulse quickened. This was no ordinary catch. Joe braced himself, gripping the rod with both hands. The line strained as whatever was on the other end fought back. The water around the boat began to churn, and Joe caught sight of a massive shadow moving below the surface. His heart pounded as he realized what he had hooked, a giant tiger shark. The shark thrashed violently, its powerful body whipping through the water. The deck of the Sea Voyager erupted into chaos as the crew rushed to help. Joe's expertise and experience were put to the test as he battled to control the shark, each pull and tug a test of strength and endurance. The tiger shark's immense power was evident as it pulled on the line, threatening to capsize the boat. Joe shouted instructions to his crew, saying that their coordinated efforts were crucial in managing the situation. The once calm afternoon had turned into a fierce struggle against one of the ocean's most feared predators. The tiger shark's thrashing grew more intense, its strength seeming to double with each passing moment. Joe's muscles strained as he tried to keep the rod steady. The shark was relentless, pulling the line with such force that the boat rocked dangerously. The crew, sensing the urgency, moved quickly to stabilize the Sea Voyager. Tom grabbed a gaff hook, ready to assist Joe in controlling the shark. Greg worked the winch, trying to reel in the line without breaking it. The deck was slick with seawater, and the men's movements were careful but urgent. They knew that one wrong move could result in disaster. The tiger shark made a sudden, powerful lunge, pulling the boat closer to the water's edge. Joe's grip tightened, his knuckles white with effort. He could see the shark's dorsal fin cutting through the water, its size and power awe-inspiring. The predator's eyes, cold and calculating, locked onto him, a reminder of the danger they faced. Joe's mind raced as he strategized their next move. He knew that they had to tire the shark out, but the creature's energy seemed boundless. Each attempt to reel it in was met with fierce resistance. The crew worked in unison, and their combined efforts were a testament to their experience and teamwork. The shark lunged again and the line snapped taut. Joe felt a surge of adrenaline as he fought to keep the rod from slipping from his hands. The shark's thrashing sent waves crashing over the deck, drenching the men. Joe's eyes never left the water, his focus unwavering despite the chaos around him. With a final, desperate effort, the shark pulled with all its might, jerking the boat violently. Joe's feet slipped, and he fell hard against the railing, the rod nearly yanked from his grasp. Tom and Greg rushed to his side, their combined strength helping to steady him. The shark's power was immense, but Joe's determination was stronger. Joe knew that they had to change their approach. He signaled to Greg to adjust the winch, trying to create more slack in the line. The shark, sensing the change, paused its thrashing momentarily. Joe took the opportunity to reel in as much line as he could, his muscles burning with the effort. The shark made another aggressive move, but this time Joe was ready. He used the momentum to his advantage, guiding the shark closer to the boat. Tom stood ready with the gaff hook, his eyes locked on the predator. The water churned violently as the shark resisted, its massive body fighting against the pull. Joe and Tom managed to bring the shark alongside the boat in a coordinated effort. The predator's strength was undeniable, but the men's combined efforts were beginning to pay off. Joe's hands ached, his body exhausted, but he refused to give up. He could see the end in sight, the shark's movements growing less frantic. With one final, powerful heave, Joe and Tom secured the shark. The deck of the Sea Voyager was a scene of triumph and exhaustion. The men collapsed, their bodies trembling from the exertion. The tiger shark lay motionless, its size and power a testament to the raw force of the ocean. Joe sat back, catching his breath, his heart still pounding from the struggle. The encounter had tested his skills and endurance like never before. He looked at his crew, their faces reflecting a mix of relief and awe. The ocean had shown them its might, but they had faced it together and prevailed.